if you don't pay your taxes, that is literally about a 5-week investigation. It's not a 5-year investigation. It's not, you know it, and so do I. I was audited a number of years ago by the IRS. They came in fast and furious. By the way, I won. They paid me money in the end, which I appreciated. But that's not always how I win, Wendy. When I'm in court, I win. But here's the deal. It's not a 5-year investigation. And all this does is fuel the idea that there's a 2-tiered justice system in this country, because if you owed taxes, Wendy, they wouldn't investigate for 5 years. Same for me. But Hunter Biden got different treatment, didn't he?
That's right. Well, Steve, I like to win in court myself. And that's one of the reasons that, sometimes cases don't go to court, is because sometimes defendants take plea deals. What is amazing in this case is not that these charges finally came. We all knew that this case had to be resolved to sort of put it to the side, because remember, we've got all of the litigation surrounding the former president. But what was surprising is that it took 5 years to get to 2 misdemeanors and a diversion agreement on the drug charge. Hunter never defended the drug charge. The gun charge. He never defended that. In fact, he wrote his autobiography talking about what he was doing at the time. What's important about this particular plea deal, Steve, is it does nothing to the underlying investigation, which isn't whether or not Hunter blew a tax deadline, but where did the money come from? That has always been the congressional investigation. It's a follow the money investigation into the big guy, into whether or not there was influence peddling or whether or not there was undue influence, not whether or not Hunter is guilty of 2 misdemeanors. So this shouldn't be a diversion. It pretty much does nothing for the ongoing investigation.
All right. So as we look back at this, and with the whistleblower and the FD 1023 document indicating that about $10 million flowed from Ukraine into $5 million to Hunter, $5 million to Joe Biden. Okay, so you've got that going on. And they never said where the money came from. If you have an S corporation, I'm not allowed to, hey, I got this extra $10 million showed up, and not say where it came from. That's about a 15-second investigation. They would ask right now, and they would want answers right now. And the Internal Revenue Service, from my experience, they're not particularly humorous. They don't see the humor in much of anything. They're kind of serious folks when it gets down to it. Again, it looks like a double standard, Wendy.
Well, it especially looks like a double standard given the proximity to the arraignment last week. The former president took to Twitter, or Truth Social, I guess he's on now, and called Hunter Biden's offense a traffic ticket. Well, then I guess the former president's offense would be more like vehicular manslaughter, because he's facing potentially 400 years. Now, he's not going to get that. But I just cite that to say this widens the divide for those that see this as a 2-tiered system of justice. The Biden family is being investigated for bribery, not for whether or not Hunter checked a box on a form that he shouldn't have. Not that that's not a serious crime, but it's not what's under investigation, and it will not distract the current congressional investigation into what they really want to know. What you said is the, shall we say, the $10 million question.